So in a video recently over on the main channel that, I mean, it had nothing to do with WWE, I made a comment saying that I was kind of done watching WWE in 2025, and I just felt like, my time had passed with this company. And that surprised a lot of people, and a lot of people actually reached out to me about that little throwaway comment. So thank you for watching the video and actually listening to what I had to say. But I thought it would make for an interesting little discussion here over on the second channel, because I don't feel like everyone will necessarily agree with my reasonings and why I am not interested in the product anymore. But, there could be reasons why they're not interested in the product, or they are interested in the product. And, it's entertainment at the end of the day. It's not a sort of thing that's going to necessarily resonate with everyone. But, pro wrestling is the first thing I remember seeing on television, WWF in 87, 88, something like that. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. And I still do love professional wrestling. I love the history of professional wrestling. But the current WWE product is just not for me. Like, I can't get into it anymore. And I think I could kind of understand why. Now, this doesn't have to do with, people that work for the company or people that return to the company. I understand that that can be a main point for a lot of people. I don't like this person. I think they're a bad person behind the scenes. This person did this, that, or the other. And I completely understand that and respect that. But for me, it's kind of like, I mean, I'll still watch a Jimmy Snuka match. I'll still watch a Chris Benoit match. It doesn't mean that I like them as human beings. It just means that I was entertained by their work, and I, can watch their work and, not necessarily let it tie into the person that they were. Some people can do that. Some people can't. I completely understand it. And it doesn't have to do with like the in-ring product of WWE in 2025. I almost said 2K25, but I mean, I guess that would technically be right too. It has nothing to do with the in-ring work, because the in-ring work right now is arguably the highest that it's ever been. Like, athleticism is off the charts, moves are off the charts and stuff like that. Like, it's a very high octane sort of product now that, you used to have like segments of wrestlers and, each individual wrestler did their own kind of thing. But now it's so, intertwined and interblended with different styles and different influences and stuff like that. And maybe that is kind of part of it, is that the overall product has become a bit homogenized and there's no really distinct styles anymore. But as someone who can just watch a pure work rate match or watch a flippy boy match and be entertained, I don't think that that's kind of my issue with the product right now that WWE is putting out there. My issues are just, the first thing that just strikes me as bizarre is the whole corporate sort of thing. Ever since TKO has come into this, the advertisements, the sponsors have become more and more prevalent in the product. It's all over the ring mat. It's all over, the match types. This is sponsored by Snickers. This is sponsored by, this video game, and the characters come out dressed as the video game, and it has nothing to do with what is happening within the storyline world of the product. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for this character to be dressed up as a video game character other than you're trying to make money from a sponsorship spot. Now, WWE is not the only company that's guilty of this. AEW has definitely done it as well, but it's much more toned down in AEW than it is in WWE. Like, it is to extreme levels where I think the canvas just looks so disgusting. It's just like a whore that you pimp out for whatever space you could get on there to get another advertiser, to get another dollar. The Slim Jim tables and stuff like that. Like, it just takes you kind of out of the product when you're watching it, especially for me. Like, I understand that boxing and stuff, UFC have this sort of aesthetic as well, but those are actual sports. This is sports entertainment. It's always kind of been a distinct, two different audiences. But with TKO owning UFC and owning WWE, they want to kind of merge it and blend it together. And historically speaking, there has been, sometimes where it works out, and then there's some times where it's just like, well, this is crap. Like let's not do this again. Storyline wise, it's very hard for me to enjoy what the bookers are doing right now, because once again, it just feels like there's no surprise element. There's no more shock element. And part of that has to do with, the internet and stuff like that. I understand that. But you could still get surprises over on people. You could still do shocking things in terms of the storylines that you are doing. What was the big shocking thing that was like, whoa, that got people talking for 2025? The John Cena heel turn, which then they retconned completely. A couple of weeks later, like 2 months later, John was like, oh, never mind. And people were like, yo, this is just as big. This is bigger than Hogan turning heel, just for him to retcon it 2 months later. And it's like, this was a big thing. This was a big moment. This was something that should have been talked about, right up there with the Hogan heel turn. But he came out looking the same. He came out acting the same, just more angry. And I don't like the fans, but I'm still wearing jorts and a bright t-shirt and my stupid little hat. Like, put on a suit, dog. Put on a suit and go out there. Put on some dirty fatigues. Change up the image a little bit. Change up the style. But that's the problem. They're so concerned with the marketing aspect. And that goes back to the whole, ring mat thing. That takes priority. That takes precedent. The whole having to watch it has become a nightmare. It is a nightmare situation that is going on right now. It is across multiple streaming services, multiple channels. You have to have this streaming service to get this channel. You have to have Netflix to watch Raw. You have to have USA Network to watch SmackDown. You have to have ESPN to watch the premium live events. And it's just a lot. It's a lot to ask for people, because people usually have a streaming service and cable, or they have multiple streaming services and no cable. You're essentially asking people to have multiple streaming services and cable, and then put on top of that the WWE premium live events for $30. You're outpricing people from being able to go to your events. That's one of the, house shows, say what you will about them, but house shows were very important because they were cheap options to go see your favorite wrestlers. And yeah, you're not going to get on TV, but it was something else. It was a bit of an option. It was something that was fun. I remember 2006 when ECW got rebooted. Me and my buddy went like 4 hours away to a town in South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina. I got us ringside seats. It was like $120 for two of them. $120, and we got to see Big Show, Paul Heyman, Sabu, Rob Van Dam, all the classic ECW guys who were still with the company, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, and it was such a fun experience. And yeah, there wasn't TV and stuff, but you allowed it to be able to be accessible to smaller markets. And with the death of house shows and stuff like that has definitely had an impact on the product overall from a consumption standpoint, because now if you want to go to watch live pro wrestling from WWE, it costs an arm and a leg. Like, look at the WrestleMania prices and SummerSlam prices, and now we got to do 2 nights of WrestleMania. We got to do 2 nights of SummerSlam and put it with a bunch of padding and filler. The product, when you watch it, is consistently filled with padding and filler. Here's this wrestler's entrance. Okay, we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. Commercials happen. Now we're back from the commercial break, and the wrestler is still in the ring by themselves. We're still waiting on the other wrestler to come down. And it's like, what are we doing here? When did everyone get an Undertaker entrance where it takes a year for the match to actually get started? I don't like the lack of competition either. I understand AEW is competition to, a varying degree or something like that, but the whole thing that they're doing with TNA right now, I hate it. I liked TNA for what it was. Was it perfect? No. Is AEW perfect? No. They are both far from perfect, but they do things differently. They are alternatives. You could see people that used to work for them, the WWE, reinvent themselves, or people who used to work for AEW reinvent themselves, or people that used to work for TNA go to the other companies, reinvent themselves. And it just seems like this partnership between WWE and NXT, I should say, and TNA has just been, the invasion thing, but you're using 90% of WWE, ex-WWE talent. You're not actually using the TNA people who have been there for years and years and years. And it's clear what they want to do. They want to, use TNA as an NXT training ground for the next generation of wrestlers. And, taking away competition, it just, I don't know, man. When I watch the product, it's just so repetitive. It's very repetitive. Here comes Roman Reigns. He's back again. He was gone for like a month, but now he's back. And then next month, here comes Roman Reigns. He was gone for 3 weeks, but he's back. And it's like, they don't care. I think the biggest thing is they don't necessarily care about what they're putting out there. Because Netflix ratings don't matter. Who cares? Who cares how many people watch it on Netflix? You've already got the money from Netflix. You got the money from, ESPN and the ESPN Plus thing. USA, they're just happy to still have WWE programming because in the general scheme of things when it comes to television ratings, pro wrestling is still a big attraction. Pro wrestling, sports, and breaking news events, those are some of the main attractions when it comes to wrestling. It's not necessarily about the product itself. It's about the viral moment on social media, whether people love it or people hate it. They don't come out there and say, these were the ratings for, SmackDown on USA last week. These were the ratings. This is how many people watched Netflix, last week. No. What do they say? Oh, we got 20 million impressions on social media. It went viral on Instagram. It went viral on Twitter. Because that's what matters nowadays, the viralness. Because companies are kind of shifting their focus away from the metrics that they are necessarily concerned with to where stuff like that is just as important, if not important, as the overall rating for the overall show. So, with all these services, with all the advertisements, with, no surprises, very homogenous booking, I'm just kind of done with it, man. And it's no disrespect to people who still enjoy the product. I still enjoy pro wrestling. I still watch AEW pretty regularly. I don't catch every episode, but, I try to watch it. It's a very easy watch for me, very digestible. Their pay-per-views are always very entertaining as well. Definitely not a perfect company. There's tons of stuff that I would change about that. But, I'm into also independent wrestling, GCW. I enjoy watching GCW. I enjoy watching smaller deathmatch wrestling promotions and smaller independent promotions, because to me, they still have the essence and the flair of pro wrestling. But, WWE is getting their mitts and all of that sort of stuff. The WWE ID program, working with GCW. I think they, I think what people think about the territory days and how Vince handled the territories and stuff like that, the over-exaggeration of how that actually happened, I think that's what you're actually seeing happen right now with WWE. They want to own everything. They want to own everyone. Because it's not this family-run sports entertainment business anymore. It is a corporate machine with, TKO backing it. And it'll be interesting to see, man. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. I went on longer than I thought I was going to. Let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. I really don't feel like editing this because WWE sucks at putting up footage and stuff like that. So I think I'm just going to let this ride and hopefully people just are entertained by listening to me because don't look at my face for 14 minutes. That's horrible. That's like looking into a Medusa face. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.